Hello friends, this is Nirmal here for Technique, and today we'll do a comparison of the newly launched Moto E with another new phone from Nokia Windows phones. This is the Nokia Lumia 630. So we'll have a detailed comparison of these two phones with respect to the design, build, the performance, the camera and also the battery performance, and we'll see which one is better in this price range. So first up, we'll have a quick look at the specs. So the Moto E comes with a 4.3-inch QHD display with 1 GB of RAM and a dual core Snapdragon processor, along with the 4 GB internal memory, and which is expandable to 32 GB via micro SD card. And that's the features of Moto E. And it also comes with a 5 megapixel fixed focus camera with no flash. There's also no front facing camera on this device. Now coming on to the Nokia Lumia 630, this is the first dual SIM phone from Nokia and also Microsoft Windows phones. Since Windows Phone 8.1 has now support for dual SIM. So this comes with a quad-core Snapdragon 400 processor with 512 MB RAM and a 4.5-inch WVGA display, and it has 8 GB internal storage, and which is again expandable via micro SD card to 32 GB. So that's the specs of Nokia Lumia 630. It also comes with 5 megapixel autofocus camera. There's no flash and also there's no front facing camera, and it runs Windows Phone 8.1. The Moto E comes with the latest Android 4.4 KitKat. So these are the specs. Now coming on to the design and build quality. So we can see here both the devices have a different design. While the Moto E has a curved back panel, the Nokia Lumia 630 has a flat back, and it has a uniform thickness. And when holding in hand, we would say the Nokia Lumia 630 feels slightly better because of its tapered ends and also the flat back panel, while Moto E is really good in hands. But when compared to the Nokia Lumia 630, we would say this is slightly better. In the build quality aspect, both the devices are really good. Both have matte finish back panel, and the quality of materials used are really good, and both are really good in the build quality and fit and finish. So now talking about the performance, software and other aspects. So Moto E comes with the latest Android 4.4 KitKat, and you can see that the performance is really good on this device, and you wouldn't see any lag whatsoever in this device since Android 4.4 KitKat has support for the latest even the 512 MB RAM devices. Now coming on to the Nokia Lumia 630, it comes with the Windows Phone 8.1 and the quad-core processor with 512 MB RAM. So Windows phones have never been had an issue with even the 512 MB RAM. So this phone also excels in performance, and the quad-core processor of Snapdragon, the quad-core Snapdragon 400 processor really shows the magic here, and it is really fast, and you won't see any issues with the quad-core processor. And also the gaming performance on both the devices are really good, and it's really fast. Both the devices, you won't feel any lag, and we won't see any issues with the software. Now coming on to the overall software performance, the Moto E, since has Android, it does have more apps, and the ecosystem is much better than Windows Phone 8.1. So in that way, the Moto E excels here because it has the latest software as well as the better apps than the Nokia Lumia 630. But one important issue with the Moto E is that it has only 4 GB internal storage, and you cannot install apps on the SD card on Android KitKat. But with Windows Phone 8.1, you can install apps on the SD card, and moreover it comes with 8 GB of internal storage. So the storage is much higher on the Nokia Lumia 630 than the Moto E. So in that aspect, Moto E wins, the Nokia Lumia 630 wins. But in the overall software and ecosystem, Moto E is slightly better since it runs Android. So now coming on to the display, the Moto E has a QHD display, that's 960 by 540 resolution, while the Nokia Lumia 630 has FWVGA display that is lesser than the Moto E. So in the display aspect, you would say the Moto E has a slight advantage over the Nokia Lumia 630. But what comes good for Nokia Lumia 630 is that it has a clear black technology, and the Nokia's displays are really good. So you can see here both the displays are really good, while the Moto E has slight advantage over Nokia Lumia 630 since it has a higher resolution. Now coming on to the camera, both the devices sport the 5 megapixel camera, and both does not come with a flash. So which is better here? So Nokia Lumia 630 does have autofocus, while the Moto E does not have autofocus. So you would have definitely have issues focusing close-up objects or doing a macro shoot. And moreover the Nokia's cameras are known for better photos even on low-end phones. You can see that the Nokia Lumia 525 had better cameras than the Moto E. So the camera on the 630 is far better than what you have on the Moto E. The shots are pretty much better on this device than the Moto E. Moto E colors and the clarity is not that great, and the fixed focus does not help it either. So in the camera aspect, the Nokia Lumia 630 wins. And in the software aspect, we would say the Moto E has a slight edge over the Nokia Lumia 630 because of the Android ecosystem. Now coming on to the performance, both the devices are really good in performance. There is no lag whatsoever in either of them, and even the gaming performance, we would say both the devices excel, even though some games are not available in Lumia 630. Like the Subway Surfers. Overall the gaming performance on both the devices are really good. We played Asphalt Airborne, the highly graphic rich game, and we found that there is no lag on either of the devices, and it played really well. Now talking about the battery performance, the Nokia Lumia 630 has slightly higher, almost similar battery when compared to the Moto E, and the battery performance is again really good on both the devices. We would say that the Lumia 630 has a slight edge over the Moto E in the battery performance, although both the devices has a battery backup of almost a day, so you won't have much of issue with the battery on both the devices. Now coming on to the features and other aspect, the Nokia Lumia 630 with Windows Phone 8.1, it has almost caught up with the Android, since it now comes with a notification area, VPN support, then you can customize the start screen and lot of other aspects. So in the software aspect, both the devices are really neck to neck. Only in the app ecosystem it's when Moto E wins, since Android has far larger number of apps than the Nokia Lumia 630. Now overall, if you say which one to pick, the Moto E or the Nokia Lumia 630, if you need Android, then the obvious choice is Moto E. If you are not worried about the OS, the Android or the Windows Phone, and if you are okay with Windows Phone and the limited app issues, we would say you should pick the Nokia Lumia 630 because it has a much better performance with respect to the camera, and it also runs the quad-core processor. Even though the RAM is slightly lower on 630, the performance is really good on Nokia Lumia 630, and moreover it comes with 8 GB of internal storage, while the Moto E comes with only 4 GB, and even though you can expand it via micro SD card, Moto E doesn't support installing apps on the SD card, while with the Nokia Lumia 630 you can install apps on the SD card. So overall we would say for this, since the price is an important aspect, the Moto E comes for 7K, while the Nokia Lumia 630 sells for around 10.5K. So there is a clear 3.5K difference. So for that you get a slightly bigger display, then there is better storage, a better camera, and a slightly better battery performance. So it's up to you to decide whether you want a really budget smartphone. Then the obvious choice is Moto E. If you are ready to spend a little more for a better camera, battery, and also better storage, then pick the Nokia Lumia 630. So that's up with the comparison of Nokia Lumia 630 with the Moto E. If you have any specific queries regarding this, drop a comment and we'll be glad to help you out with your queries. If you like this video, do hit the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates, and thanks for watching this video.